Yeah, my name's Godwin Kowero. I lead a Pan-African institution by the name of the African Forestry Forum. It's based in Nairobi, Kenya. It was founded in 2006 with the main purpose of bringing together all people who are interested in forests and trees outside forests to air their views about these resources on the African continent, and also to find solutions to some of the problems or constraints that making this sector not to move forward as expected. It's a membership institution. At the present, members don't pay a fee, and we have around 2,700 members from all over the world. With the majority of them are coming from Africa. We have close to 150 members from outside the continent. Now, why this is so is because there are people from outside the continent who have worked in Africa in the area of forestry, and some continue to work in Africa, but they are foreigners, and they're very much interested in these resources. So we call them the Friends of African Forestry. And in this case, we have about members from around 32 countries outside Africa. Within Africa, we have members from 52 countries, and many of them are spread in West Africa and then East Africa. The forum seeks to provide a platform first to discuss these issues, and also to find solutions to these issues. So we look at a broad range of issues as the members decide. It's not the secretariat of the forum that comes up with the program. It is the members, and we draw the program, they approve it, and we implement it. Now, in this program, you'll find practically all issues that are related to forest resources, both natural and plantation forests, and trees on farms. You will find issues about the management of natural forests, issues relating to management of forest plantations, woodlots, and trees on farms, and the use of these resources, how they can be harvested and processed, issues of marketing and trade, and the benefits that, or the ecosystem services that these resources provide, especially in relation to provision of, let's say, things like water, the oxygen that we breathe, the hydroelectricity that we enjoy, and many other benefits in terms of different types of foods. There are wild animals in these forest areas. Some countries have, especially in Central Africa, they get most of their protein material from these forests. We also look at the players in these forests, especially the players both in the establishment of these resources, their care, and also processing, marketing, and trade, and the issues in the various value chains. We're also concerned with the policies and governance frameworks that bear on the management of these resources so that they are available in a sustainable manner. Here in Voi, we have this workshop on in promoting the involvement of youth in sustaining the management of forests and tree resources on farms, and also to look at how the youth can benefit from these resources, especially in terms of improving their livelihoods. Now, this is our first undertaking to get some ideas from the youth, especially what they think about the resources, what they see in them, and how they can participate or engage in their sustainable management and use. As we all know, Africa is, the population is mainly youth, more than 60%. And I don't think that's the continental region that has such a youthful population. Now, we have to involve the youth in this, in managing this process, because it's about their future. I think the present and past generations have run down these resources to the extent where we are. And I think it's up to us to get a good grasp of what the youth think about these resources and how they can manage them, because they are the most abundant resources on land, green resources. And the conversation has just started, and it coincides with the COP27 on the United Nations framework on climate change. Now, this also brings in the idea what the youth think, especially this critical time when the continent is facing drought, which is very hard on the Horn of Africa. There are floods in West Africa, Chad, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and other areas. So the environment or the climate has precipitated all of this suddenly to our continent. So we have to see what the youth think about these events, and how do they see we can contain them. I think the challenges we're facing are global, because the main effect of climate change is this global warming, which has resulted in the shifting of patterns, of the weather patterns which we know. And we see, for example, lots of, especially these recent years, we cannot predict very well the seasons, for example, for planting and so forth. So farmers are actually at a loss of what to do. And when the rains come, sometimes the rainy seasons are short. So when you put the seed in the ground, by the time it germinates, there's no rain. And this is not only the farmers, even the trees in the world. They fruit, they shed the fruit, and when the seedlings are coming up, there's no rain. So it means that we are also losing plants in the world because of this. The other thing we are seeing, especially in this part of Africa, is the extensive drought. And this has affected many countries in the region. In some areas, you find some people have not got rain for periods of 4 or so years, and or they've lost consecutive rainy seasons, and there is nothing. And we see loss of both domestic and wildlife. The crops are not there. Everything appears to be brown. And then there are floods, like you can see in West Africa right now. And they will happen even in this part of the world, because if it rains heavily and we don't have vegetation on the ground to check the floods, then the flash floods can be severe. We saw a lot of flooding also, I think, here in Sudan. So these are some of those effects that are in this region. Now they precipitate problems about our livelihoods. They make conditions of life very difficult. You cannot get adequate food. Because of the drought, there is not adequate water, or there's complete absence of water in some places. Like in the wild, I think animals are dying out of drought, out of lack of water. So, and it decreases poverty in the region. The gains that we've made over the number of years, recent years, they've been wiped out. And this coming on top of the global pandemic on COVID-19, and also with the war between Ukraine and Russia, things are really hard for everybody.